Hello everyone, my name is Will from Ghost Hack, and welcome to the final episode of the series where I'm showing you how to start a dubstep track. In the last few episodes, we made the entire drop and all the layers that go under it, every single bit of the drop, and then in the last episode we created this intro that really set the mood for the song. And now the goal for today is going to be to combine the intro and the drop with a build that is, really builds the hype. It definitely builds the hype for a heavy drop, which we have a heavy drop here. But it doesn't, it doesn't have too much crazy stuff going on that the drop sounds weak, compared to the build-up. So that's going to be the goal. So I'm going to start off playing this intro, and then I will play you the drop.
I've lived in darkness a long time. Over the years, my eyes adjusted. I could see.
Alright, so I don't think there's too much to explain here. I think we can just kind of get right into it and see what I can do. So let's kind of bring over some things such as the impact. I think we'll have the impact again, and I think we will also have the brass hits again because those sounded pretty good. So we'll just take that right there. We are also going to take this ARP. However, I just want this spot right here. I want this spot right here, and then I just want to loop it. So we'll select that spot and do one of these. And now this is going to go up in pitch. So now we just take serum right here once the area is selected. Let's change this right here to 12 going upward. And then I'm going to make sure that this is also at 12. So now I can just modulate this pitch knob. So create an automation clip and do this action. I'm also going to take these hi-hats because they definitely need to be carried over. But in the same way that the rides are kind of rising up with this EQ pattern I did in the last episode, I kind of want to do the same thing, just going downwards now. So I'm just going to extend this out. I'm going to copy the value here and paste it right here, and we should have the same effect, just in reverse. And it just getting a little bit weaker there right before the drop is going to help the drop sound heavier. But now that we have this ARP going, we're definitely going to need these offbeat guitar licks as well. Again, with the guitar licks, I want to either do it pitching up or I want to do it pitching down, do like a down pitch. So I'm going to figure out what I want. But for right now, I just want to make it unique. I want to put it over here, make sure that it's the right length. And then I'm going to create an automation clip for the pitch envelope. All right, I've decided that even though down sounds a little bit cool, I think it does sound better going up. But once again, I think we're going to have to automate it because I don't like how it sounds like at the end there. I want it to kind of fade out. So I'm going to create an automation for a high pass filter actually, and then I'm just going to have the high pass filter rise up. A little stronger than that. Let's make it about there maybe. I'm going to tell you right now, usually my build-ups have the most layers of any other part in the track, including the drop. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen in the build-up, at least that I like to do, to make it sound interesting and good. And we're definitely going to need a kick to kind of help us build up. It's going to increase in speed, and I'm going to do some filtering as well, but this is the kick we got. Sounds pretty powerful right now, but not too punchy that it will take away from the impact of the drop itself. Tell you what I'm actually going to do instead. I'm going to change this out for kick 6, which is actually the kick that I'm using in the drop. However, it's not going to go through all the heavy post-processing, so it's going to be the same thing but weaker. So now some drastic EQing. It's a lot weaker now, but you can still tell that it has the punch of a kick drum. And with this kick drum, I'm actually going to do a couple things. I'm going to do both a low pass and a high pass filter. So let's just open up another EQ so we can deal with that separately. So now there's the kick, and then the next thing I want after that is like a clap loop or something like that. Like I want some claps. So in Dubstep Sound Arsenal, I'll go into the claps and just grab clap 1 because it sounds pretty generic and pretty nice for this purpose. All right, so I have this clap pattern here that is just playing this catchy little rhythm and beat up until the build up where the claps are getting slowly faster, but they're always just a step ahead faster than the kick drum, which I think sounds pretty good. But first of all, I have to route it into its own channel and I have to lower it and do some effects because it's very loud and very powerful and I don't want it to be. So all these claps are going right into 27 where I can do some work. So now the claps in the background sound like this. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to route the claps through the side chaining because even though there's no side chaining happening right here, there is going to be. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my side chain automation right here, and I'm going to make it unique. And when I make it unique, I can now edit it to make it smaller and just less powerful than the side chain for the drop. So I can do something a little more along the lines of this. I can kind of scoot everything aside, make it not go down as much, make it less powerful. I just want a short little side chain. So on the build up kick, we're going to put a side chain every time it happens. Now there are a few things we are missing here. Obviously we are missing first risers, and second of all we are missing a drum fill. Or it doesn't even necessarily have to be a drum fill. It can be a vocal fill or just something to fill out this space in between. But we are going to deal with that afterward. First thing we need is definitely like risers. So the way I like to do this, I like to have one long noise riser, one short noise riser, which can be, you know, either like a reverse cymbal or something like that, just something a little shorter. And then I like to have a siren rise. I think I'll try this one and see how this one sounds. It's obviously very loud, but I think that one will work very well. And this is actually one of my favorite siren risers from the Trap Pack, Hybrid Trap Essentials. I think it's a pretty good one. It definitely needs to be kind of volume automated, but it's really good to start out with. But I think I will go into the Urban Trap Essentials pack, which is kind of a hip-hop-ish pack, and choose this cymbal. And I think I'm going to reverse it, and that is going to be the short kind of noise riser. Let's turn all of these down. Normally what has to happen is the noise riser, like the long noise riser, needs to be a little bit louder, and the siren noise riser needs to be turned down so we can create this kind of shape. Also, this noise riser, I want it to have more stereo, so I'm going to go ahead and put a dimension expander on it, and I'm also going to take out the lows because the lows are a little large. Okay, so this is the build up with all those three risers. It is too loud, so we're going to have to turn it down a lot, but this is just as a subtle layer, it really does fill out the build-up. And we are almost done here. The last thing I add to a build-up, just as a final touch, is I like to export these basses right here, all these sounds that we have in the drop. And I like to kind of really weaken them, put some like a bandpass filter or like a low pass and a high pass filter on it, make it really weak with reverb, and just put it in the background of the buildup. That is going to make the drop sound less like strange and like coming out of nowhere. All the sounds will be like kind of recognized. So it's a very good thing to get in the habit of doing. All I'm going to do is just go on the master chain, and I'm just going to record out this in Edison. So I'm just going to hit on play. So now way down at the bottom here, we have our little dubstep thing. So I've kind of chopped it up, and this is what I'm going to use. Just imagine that like really filtered and kind of in the background, really weak with a little bit of reverb. It's going to sound nice. And afterwards, with some kind of fill created, in this case, I took this vocal
I could see.
from the intro. I added these snare hits right here along with the reverses.
I could see.
That's also from the other part of the drop. And I added an impact with some cymbal rising modulation stuff.
I could see.
And that is pretty much all that was needed for the fill. So now that we have completed the intro, the build up, and every single bit of the drop, we are officially done with the series. And I'm going to play the result for you in just a minute. First, I'm going to just apply this mastering that I did quickly. This is just with Ozone 8. I added some equalizing, some dynamics and stuff like this. I added some harmonic excitement throughout the spectrum. I added some extra imaging and a dynamic EQ, which is doing some important stuff. And then at the very end, a maximizer to really crank it through. So here is the basically mastered version of our track.
I've lived in darkness a long time. Over the years, my eyes adjusted. I could see.
So there we have it. I hope you enjoyed this video series. I had a lot of fun doing this. I had a lot of fun making this track. And hopefully, if you kept up watching the other episodes, you learned a lot from this as well. So thank you guys so much for all your support, and I will see you in the next video. Happy producing.